Hey everybody, you got the Hobby Drifter here again with another video. Today we've got Gokaiger. I did not set out to buy this. I was at a secondhand store and I saw the artisan version of the Die Ranger Mecha Die Reno, which was released in Power Rangers as the Thunder Megazord. It's the came out a few years ago. They re-released it with paint apps and tampagraphs instead of stickers. Made a few changes to it. It's huge, giant box, beautiful box, and not usually the kind of thing that I would even consider buying. But just for nostalgic reasons, I just remembered when I was a kid and I had one of those, and how simple and satisfying the transformation was. I have been collecting toys and toy robots for many years, and for the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, it just seems like toy robots, especially ones aimed at people like me, are just really complex and often really expensive, and just not as much fun to transform back and forth. Um, I've probably, from the time I was a child to now, I've transformed the G1 1984 Optimus Prime, Power Master Optimus Prime, thousands of times. The original Megazord, hundreds and hundreds of times. Um, but these new ones, Masterpiece 44, Convoy Optimus Prime, transformed it once. I said, yeah, okay, that was in no way enjoyable, and I've left him displayed in robot mode ever since. Similar thing with the Soul of Chogoki and Danger stuff, Dragon Caesar, Daijujin, and King Brachion. Um, Transformed them a couple of times, largely to make the videos talking about them. But I mean, they're so heavy, and they're so you know nicely painted and everything. I don't want to scratch anything. I don't want to certainly don't want to break anything. So I mean, yeah, they've just been kind of on display for basically ever since Brachion's been out, and I missed that feeling of just having a simple thing to just transform back and forth, and so I I very nearly bought the Daireno. It was 17,000 yen, which is one heck of a impulse buy. But I decided against it. But I did. I kept. It was stuck in my head that I just wanted to pick up something kind of nostalgic, that was simple, that I could just flip back and forth without any problem. And fortunately, the store also had this, which is Gokaiger from Gokaiger, and unlike the Daireno, which was 17,000 yen, this guy was only 3,000 yen after taxes, which is, I want to say, about 28 US dollars, somewhere there. It's under 30 bucks. Um, I got I got change back from 3,000 yen. I get it was very reasonable. I want to say that's half of what this thing retailed for. I think the original MSRP was 6,000 or 7,000 yen back when it came out. Um, so I got this from a secondhand store, and the thing about buying secondhand Super Sentai stuff is a lot of it is in very poor shape. Um, I've met a bunch of people online who have this idea in their head that Super Sentai is aimed at an older audience than Power Rangers, but I mean that it's not. Um, Sentai is aimed at very young kids. I mean, like kindergarten, first grade age kids are like the target for Super Sentai. it basically goes, for kids in Japan, it goes Anpanman, then Super Sentai, then Kamen Rider, and by the time they're a little bit older, they're into whatever else. But yeah, it's aimed at little kids, and this figure is very very much a small kid's toy. So because they're aimed at kids, a lot of the ones that you'll find at secondhand stores, except for like Mandarake and like the bigger ones, who are more collector focused, they'll come back. I mean, they'll be missing parts, paint scratches, things are broken. Weirdly, a lot of them still have the box. I mean, yeah, maybe it's missing every part there is, all the paint scratched to hell, swords broken in half, whatever. But they kept the box, which always amazes me because even I don't usually keep the boxes for stuff. It's too much of a space investment for me. But whenever Book Off will sell something that is in less than perfect shape, there'll usually be like a little tag up here, and it'll say it's missing a piece. It's got a broken piece. Here's Mobiritz that I bought a few years ago that I've left the tag on, and it says that there's the body and key have some damage, some wear to them. This thing had no such label. There was no sticker on it. So, hey, 3,000 yen, boxed, big blocky thing. I figured, hey, why not? So I bought it, got it home, and by the way, they would have let me inspect it at the register. I mean, obviously, they know that people are collectors. So if I had asked them, to open it up and let me see it before I took it home, they would have let me do it. But it was kind of crowded. There's a lot of people behind me. I didn't want to hold up the line. So yeah, $30. That's basically nothing when you think about just how much stuff costs in Tokyo. So yeah, what the hell? I figured if it was in bad shape, I'd chuck the box and give the figure to like one of the kids, like a family friend who donated to one of my schools or something. But I'm happy to say that it was in spectacular shape. When I got the thing open, it's not only had the original instruction booklet and the supplementary stuff, but also all the little plastic garbage. So, yeah, look at this thing. It's beautiful. Absolutely fantastic shape. I could not find any wear on it at all. And not only that, this particular Book Off also had the dragon from Magi Ranger, which combined there. So yeah, spent the last couple hours, not entirely, but over the last few hours, just been fiddling around with it, transforming it back and forth. Transforming, obviously, if you've seen Gokaiger, there's not a whole lot to the transformations of these things. The center part transforms into the Gokai Galleon, and the other limbs are just, they're big fat bricks with wheels or wings and wheels. So that's this thing. But it got me thinking. Got me thinking about how much I really enjoyed Gokaiger. And I know it's no one's surprised. What? Ooh, Gokaiger was great. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with the series, and just kind of get it out there. So, Gokaiger came out, I want to say it was 2011. It was probably started early 2011. And around that time, I want to say it was, it was in March, right after the, March 2011, right after the big earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear disaster in in Fukushima, Japan. Some friends who do the podcast, the Fanholes podcast, reached out to me for doing a spot on one of their shows. It was about Transformers. But they also asked if I could record a voiceover type thing for based on the sponsorship plug in a lot of Japanese kid shows, where they'll do the theme song, and then before they go to their first commercial or before the show starts, there will be an announcer saying that, like the major sponsor for this episode is, this, that, or the other thing. So that they sent me over a YouTube link to the one that they wanted me to kind of parody, and I did. I'm not sure if they're still using it. I know they used it for quite some time. But I don't know. I really liked the theme song, and it was cool to see all the different Rangers or whatever, and just the song itself is a real nice melody. I mean, it sounds great. It's really high energy. It's very exciting. The lyrics are really cool too. Like one of the big ones, like the big hook, is that not everybody is the same, which is something that you wouldn't maybe expect to see or hear in a Japanese kids program. Thomas is really big here, and the at least for the Japanese dub, is basically obey. Do what you're supposed to do what everyone tells you to do, or bad things happen. So right out of the get-go, it's like, oh, not everyone's the same. Cool. So yeah, I started watching Gokaiger, and there were maybe like a half dozen things in the series that I thought were really, really cool, and I just wanted to kind of reminisce. For those of you who have seen the series, maybe you could share your thoughts down in the comments. For those of you who haven't seen the series, I am gonna spoil everything, just everything important that happens in Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger, and a lot of the stuff that happened in the earlier Sentai franchises. So if you don't want to be spoiled by some dude recording a video on his phone on a holiday at 3:30 in the afternoon, maybe this is not going to be the best thing for you. But okay, so here's the one thing that I really, really like. The overriding reason that I got so attached to Gokaiger is that while it's obviously heavily influenced by nostalgia, it's the 35th anniversary of the Super Sentai series. It's not nostalgic in that it's aimed at older people. I mean, again, this is almost a baby's toy. I mean, it's heavy, where little hands can't get their fingers pinched in anything. It's very light. There's no articulation, basically anywhere except for the shoulders. It's made for little kids, and so is Gokaiger. It is aimed squarely at that very young demographic, but the nostalgia seems to take into account that kids don't always watch their TV shows alone. Older brother, older sister, mom, dad, maybe even grandma, grandpa. Gathering of cousins, whatever. Especially in Japan, where families live together, where you'll often have 3 generations living in the house. So the way that this nostalgia played out was, most of it was not at all central to the main story. So like if you were completely unfamiliar with the guest stars from previous series, you'd be totally fine. But older fans who were watching it would be, oh, hey, I know that guy. I remember when that happened. And I thought that was really cool that it was a nostalgic thing that was seemingly intended specifically for like bonding moments between older and younger family members. I thought I'm a sucker for stuff like that, for stuff where maybe the kid finished the episode and then he asks his older brother, or she asks her older brother or sister, oh yeah, I saw this on the show, do you remember this character? And then maybe they bond over it. There was a movie, the 199 Hero Great Battle or something to that effect, where that was like a big theme, was like the parents knew the Super Sentai teams and the younger kids knew like the Heisei teams, and it was just it's nice. It's a nice thing. But there were also some really, like, not adult, but some I hate to even say mature themes, but there was some stuff that it definitely didn't talk down to kids, and I'm gonna just run through a few of these. The Blue Ranger, Gokai Blue, finds that one of the series' recurring antagonists is actually an old friend of his old teacher, and of course he was captured by the enemy, and they RoboCop Darth Vadered him into a a monster. And of course, he tries to save him, tries to bring him back, but in the end, he finds that that there is no saving him, there is no reversing the process. He is totally gone, and so finally, what he decides to do is destroy him, and that's what he does. He kills the monster, and his friend, basically to save his friend. And the lesson that I took from that was that, be it their own fault or not, sometimes people change, and they change for the worse, and there's no coming back from it. And you just have to let them go. And I again, it's a tough message. I put that kind of almost up there with the Mr. Hooper thing in Sesame Street, where it's like, yeah, sometimes, it's not for any reason. It just happens, and of course it's a big emotional scene, and his friends comfort him that he did the right thing. But yeah, that was a big one. The Gokai Pink, this is the one that has stuck with me for ever since I saw it. She finds the monster that is responsible for killing her family. She was the princess of a planet the bad guys invaded. They killed her family. She escaped. The Marvelous and the other Gokaigers, rescued her and helped her become like the fighter. So she finds the monster that killed her family, and obviously she wants revenge, and she goes off on her own to kill the monster, because she doesn't want to involve her friends. She doesn't think that they'll be supportive. Obviously that's weird, because killing the monsters is their whole thing, is what they do every week. But I could smell from a mile away where this was going. It was going to be, revenge is not the answer, and two wrongs don't make a right, and you knew as soon as they started playing this that, okay, she's going to learn that you can't be driven by revenge and whatever. But no, not at all. what happens, she goes to fight the monster, she's not successful, she comes back, she tells her friends what happened, and she doesn't think that they're going to be supportive of her, but no, they're just like, yeah, no, we're behind you 100%, let's go kill this guy. uh, and they do, they team up, they find him, they beat the holy hell out of him, knock him silly, and set the Pink Ranger up for the kill shot. And she takes it. She blasts him all to high hell, and boom, Power Ranger death. And again, I'm still thinking, it's gonna be, even though I've killed this guy, I feel like I don't feel any better. We can't go on like just being driven by revenge. I thought that I would feel much better, but I don't. And again, nope, not at all, not at all. Monster dies. Friends come over and like hug her, and she's like, "Oh, I feel much better now. I think that my family can finally rest in peace." And I was like, "Wow, yeah, no." So, again, weird message to send to kids that yeah, no, sometimes sometimes you do need to go in and make things right. Like, don't let people get away with hurting you. So okay, that's pretty awesome. Then we've got Captain Marvelous, and this one wasn't even that big a thing, but it was just so brutal that I have to mention it. He's got an ongoing rivalry with like another pirate. He's the other pirate. Like he betrayed and then murdered Marvelous's friend and mentor, the guy who told him to collect the Ranger keys. And they fight a bunch of times, and the good guys never come out on top. The bad guy always either wins outright or escapes, because he's really powerful, but he's also incredibly fast. So, like, even if you could, overpower him, you can't catch him, which is cool. That's kind of a Dragon Ball thing. Tons of cliches in the show, borrowed from others. The Darth Vader thing with Joe, the Blue Ranger. But so yeah, they got this ongoing feud, and the way that the final, like, Marvelous finally stops him is they have like a one-on-one battle. It's like a gun and sword fight, and it ends when Marvelous just like stomps on Bosco, the bad guy's foot, and then takes his sword and stabs it through not only his own foot but Basco's foot. So he's got this sword jammed through both of their own feet and pinning him to the ground. Then Marvelous just pulls out his gun and just empties it into the guy's chest. Just point blank, sword in his foot, boom, 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 boom. And yeah, that's how he kills him. It's right near the end. As the show goes on, the main antagonist is like the prince of the evil space empire, and they kill him because of course they do. And so the prince's father is angry about it. So he comes down, and they just like, we're gonna kill you like we did your son, and they do. They just boom. So I mean, interesting lessons. You got sometimes people change. Sometimes you do need to get your own back. No sacrifice, no victory with the foot thing, and start something, end something with the king and prince of the the bad guys. It's a terrific show. The movies were fun. there was a movie where they teamed up with Space Sheriff Gavin with a bunch of other cameos from other series, because that actor played several different characters and he played all of them in this movie. Just it's a wonderful time. It's a good and enjoyable show, and the toy line for what it was, it's cool. Again, very much aimed at kids, as they are. They did do like a more like a little mini Chogokin superposable Gokaiger that it didn't transform or anything, but it was just very nicely done. If that's more your thing. But yeah, I watched this series as it aired. I think I came in maybe a few months late. Went back and watched all the previous episodes, and then watched them weekly when they were on Saturday or Sunday morning. And real quick shout out to the companies that do the subtitles, like the fan subs for Super Sentai. My Japanese was not as good then as it is now, and in fact, it's not as good now as it should be. But these groups would have a really nice fan sub for Gokaiger available within like 24 hours of the show airing. And I mean, for the most part, they were excellent. The subtitles were very accurate, and not just boring accurate. I mean, these were really, really good. Yeah, so I could watch them early in the morning on weekends, and then by the evening, there'd be a subtitled version that I could go back and catch what I missed. I just want to throw one more thing about the series. There was one episode with I want to say his name was Black Condor. He was the Jetman Black character, who again the series aimed at very young kids. Wasn't always. It used to be aimed at a slightly older, like elementary school age. And nowhere was this more clear than with the series Jetman and the finale, where the black Jetman guy, again, I'm pretty sure his name is Black Condor, died. And it wasn't a big heroic, saving the world death. He tries to stop a mugger or a purse snatcher or something. Gets stabbed in the gut. Lives just long enough to wish his friends well in their wedding, and then dies on a bench, like a park bench. And he comes back for the series, as a ghost. Like they show his grave, and people have left like whiskey as a tribute on his grave, because he was a drinking man, which was again very, very different from what you'd see in shows today. And it's cool that that it was like one of the saddest things in Sentai, and they kind of put like a happy bow around it. Like they put a little happy spin on it, kind of like what they did with Fry's dog in the Futurama movies. And I'm sure there are some people who preferred the much darker, sadder ending. I didn't know about it until I watched the series, and in fact, that's how I basically learned about the history of Super Sentai, is by watching this show. I didn't know basically anything pre Geodanger or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, so seeing this was very interesting, and it holds up. The music is great. Obviously the special effects are what they have always been. They did this. The one thing that I'm sure everyone will remember, like the legacy of the show, are the Ranger keys, and they came in several different versions. They did eventually release everything that was shown in the series. They had keys for all 200 Rangers and associated characters. Um, Except I think for the pig, I'm not sure they ever did the pig, but they did a bunch of weird, expensive box sets towards the end. I came very, very close to collecting all of them until they started releasing the final ones in these absolutely insane pre-order exclusive online sets where I just stopped. And I eventually sold basically everything except for the main Gokaiger team and the Judager characters. Um, so yeah, I think that's just about it. I watched the series at an interesting time in my life. You know, started it when I was living in Hiroshima right after the big disaster, and you know it was really the first Japanese TV show that I watched regularly. It certainly helped me when I was in my early days of you know, learning to speak more interesting Japanese beyond the basic conversational stuff. And yeah, I don't really have enough good stuff to say about it. If you've never been a Sentai or Power Ranger fan, you didn't grow up with it, I'm not gonna suggest that you might really like it if you've never watched the show before, because you know stuff like this. If you're not into it as a kid, you're probably not gonna discover it. That you really love it as an adult, but if you do have any kind of fond memories of Power Rangers or of Super Sentai, um, this may be your thing. You might be into this. Give it a shout. Give it a shot, rather. And if you have a chance, you know, listen to some of the music. Most of it's available on YouTube. I'm sure there's clips available from the show on YouTube as well. It was released on a series of strikingly expensive DVDs that I'm almost positive you cannot get legally with subtitles. So, you know, fair warning there. All right, I am going to sign off. Thanks for listening to me ramble about, you know, liking simple toy robots and my fond memories of Gokaiger. Until next time, thank you very much, and happy hobbying.